Suspense. So, welcome to Afternoon Tea with Just Stamp. You are going to be learning how to create a very pretty card using the new Sending Smiles bundle. It's a very fun stamp set, pretty little flowers, and you know I love a great greeting, so that sending accompanies smiles across the miles, all the good luck your way, sunshine to brighten your day, love and big hugs, birthday wishes, a note of thanks, a card to say hello, comfort and strength. So, oh my lordy, all of these great greetings in one stamp set, plus a pretty little build of flower images, and I'm going to give you options. I'm going to show you options on how I built my flowers. So that's what I'm using today. I did use the coordinating dies, and I'm going to tell you I did do some of the things in advance, so you're not going to have to watch me die cut. I'm also using the 2022-24 in color DSP stack. That's a freebie when you join during May. So this promotion, it's a little bit shorter than some of the join promotions are. This one's less than a month. I'm also going to be using the adhesive sheets, and I'll share with you where I used them because they're very convenient. And let's take it away. Let's see if I can show you a pretty card. Here is the card we're going to be making. So this one is Sending Birthday Wishes. I find I am needing lots of birthday cards because I'm trying to be a good egg and send out the birthday cards. I make so many of them, and then I feel like I'm just not on top of actually sending them out. So birthday cards are my number one card, along with the thank yous. And around this time of the year, there's also need for congratulations. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And the inspiration for my little card was my recollections of my days when I lived in Britain, and I had this pretty little garden with just a border of cornflowers. They used to just grow so nicely. To me, that's like a cornflower blue. Thank you, Pam. It's actually Orchid Oasis, a new in color. Remember, that's part of your kit. Here is my color scheme. I'm actually using two of the new in colors. So Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky, Polished Pink, and you can't see my label. This is Blushing Bride, and Garden Green. That's my color scheme that I'm using. And I went with this little Orchid Oasis thinking it reminded me kind of like cornflower blue, right? So that's my flower. You will note that this stamp set is not a wreath stamp set, right? These are like tall, flowing, like they're reaching up for the sunshine. And I'm going to share with you how I created my wreath with this same stamp set. I focused just on that little flower right there that reminded me of the cornflower. So that's what we're going to be creating today. I'm going to leave this up here. I'm going to walk you through it. I'll give you all the measurements to create this little card. Again, I'm really happy with how it came out, so I hope you like it too. So let's see, my card base, whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself. I already almost showed you the other cards that I've made with this pretty little set. So here you go. I mentioned that I did pre-craft some of the pieces so that you're not having to watch me die cut. Well, hello, my dear friend Monica Gerberti. I'm sure that you, my friend, have been just as busy as I have been trying to play that catch-up game. I feel like I'm getting there, but I also need to relax and create things that aren't class-related or club-related. I finally get to craft for my liking. So here's what I came up with. So my card base, it's the basic white. I love a basic white card base. So easy to write my greeting or stamp my greeting right on the card base. It's the standard card size. That's why I said it's a simple card, but I am going to show you a little trick with the photopolymer stamps. So standard card size 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And there we go. My next layer is that Orchid Oasis. I think it might be my favorite in the in color. Monica, she's not there yet. Oh, I'm glad that this is your relaxing time because you need to take a few minutes, and hopefully today it's going to be just a few minutes, to just sit back and get some creative inspiration. I want to see what you do with my card. I love seeing other people's spin on my work. So this layer is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, so just a smidge smaller than the card base. Then I have my basic white, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to layer on this. I love plaid, this pretty Orchid Oasis plaid that comes from that DSP paper stack. This one has the little spots on the flip side, and I love the plaid. I think it's probably my favorite pattern on the paper stack. So that's going to create the layers. To stamp, I need a long, narrow strip of basic white, and you can see I pre-stamped to share with you how I did this. I knew I needed about 7 or 8 little flowers, so I did 3 in the Orchid Oasis, I did 3 in the polished pink, and then you're going to notice that you're probably wondering, what are those colors? This is Blushing Bride. This is Blushing Bride first generation, Blushing Bride second generation, and this is the color I want right here, because to me this one says cornflower, this one does not. So I needed 2, so I stamped off, stamped, and stamped off. So that's what I've got there. The little centers I created with the little stamp that's in the stamp set, a little tiny flower center, and I double stamped. So this one actually is the Starry Sky on the Orchid Oasis. Then, oh, I haven't stamped this here. I can show you what I did. I took my polished pink, which is my flower right here, and this is a photopolymer stamp set. So instead of my piercing mat, I've just got my little silicone mat there. Be careful with this stamp. I've already had a couple of near escapes with this little tiny stamp falling off the block. I feel like I'm going to lose it before long. So to stamp the center, I wanted a little bit of contrast between the flower center and the petals, so I double stamped it and just gave it an extra dose of color. So that's how I created my little flowers. Then these are all easily die cut on the mini cut and emboss machine. For the Blushing Bride flowers, I went ahead and I stamped first generation, Blushing Bride. So no need to stamp off for the flower center. I just went ahead and stamped or inked and stamped, and I did that double as well. So ink and stamp. There you go. That's how I created my flowers. I had to die cut them, and that takes a little bit of time because there's only one die for this particular flower. And I love it when the dies have duplicates of some of the images, but this one doesn't. That's okay. It still was calming and relaxing, so I needed that. I also needed a little snip of garden green to die cut a flower stem and one leaf. So that's all I did there. Again, mini cut and emboss machine created that. I am using one of the banners from the die set. It's, let's see, about 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. I used a 4 by about 3 inch snip of Orchid Oasis cardstock, and I stamped the outline of the sending, which is really cool. I love the look of the outline wording that's included in the stamp set. So we've got that piece. Then we have the sending that you can either stamp or die cut. And I chose to die cut. It's white, so it's much easier than having to stamp and heat emboss. And then my other tip was, before I ran it through the cut and emboss machine, I used my adhesive sheet. So I just put a little tiny snip, like 2 by 4 inches on basic white cardstock. That means I am going to just reveal the sticky, peel it right off. I'm not going to have to fuss with little dots of multi-purpose liquid glue. Hello, Sonia. Welcome in. I'm glad you made it. Happy Friday, yay! It is a beautiful spring day here in Southern California. The only thing I'm going to need to do is just be a little careful when you bring it down because the white layer is so delicate. Sometimes it tends to stretch a little bit, so you just want to make sure that it's falling right in place of your outline where you want it to flow. Oh my gosh, look how simple that was. No fussiness with the liquid glue, so love that. You will notice the little dot for the eye is missing, and you can fret over removing that dot from the eye, or you can just put a little embellishment, which I chose to do. So Anna Marie usually chooses some easy ways out. Okay, so then I've got all my little cornflowers here, which have been cut. And I've got a little mini dimensional behind. Uh-oh, I think I'm going to need one more cornflower. We'll see. I thought I had enough, maybe not. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to leave my reference card there. And I think I'm ready to do some stamping and give you some tips. So I'm going to move the pieces away. Bring in my basic white cardstock. This is 4 by 5 1/4. This is the one that I'm going to be adding the designer series paper at the left-hand side. But before I layer up, before I do that, I'm going to do my stamping. And I'm going to create that wreath in garden green. So I'm going to grab my ink and I'm going to share with you this stem that I'm using is a standing stem. And because it's photopolymer, it can bend fairly easily when you mount it on your acrylic blocks. So rather than having this standing perfectly, I made it bend, and the way I did that, I created a little circle. This is about the size that I want my wreath to be, and this was just cut from the new stylish frames or stylish shapes. And this is the circle that is about 3 inches. So that's where I'm going to want my wreath. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do a little pencil mark. So use a little graphite pencil that's easy to erase. In actuality, when I created my card, I didn't even have to erase very much. So I'm just going to lightly draw my circle in position. And I mean, you can barely see it, right? It's not going to show up very much. Just a guide for me. And I knew that I wanted my wreath to be easily aligned. So I cut a smaller circle. This one measures about 2 inches. And I'm going to use this as my guide for stamping. So now I've got my leaf, and to bend my leaf in the circle, all I did was flip my acrylic block over, put my stamp right on the block, and then I can kind of tweak it to match the circle that I want to go. So you could do this with a lot of photopolymer stamps. That's so easy. That's one of the beauties of the photopolymers. You can see right through it as your guide. So now let's start stamping. I am going to be inking up in garden green. And remember, I want to be within that circle, the larger circle, and I know my little leaves are going to come in sort of at the smaller circle. So there we go. So this one's going to be actually a little bit higher, I can already tell, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to rotate my paper. It helped me. And for placement, I'm going to go with the bend of this circle and insert it. I'm going to go right at the base of the leaf and go right in here where those 2 leaves are, ink down. And you can see how my wreath is coming along, right? So again, and I'm going to turn, and I'm just going to rotate all the way around, trying to match up the curve. So I'm bringing in the base of the stem right into where these 2 little leaves meet. Not so perfect, but that's okay. I can live with it. So now I'm going to do again, and I'm just going to continue going on in my circle. Absolutely love this little stamp set. And when you think about the things you can do with the stamps, it just kind of unlocks the possibilities because you don't have to do it exactly as it's shown. Thanks, Pam. And Anybody can do it. I've seen some people use a stamp apparatus to do this kind of thing. You don't need it. You can just use the stamp as your guide. Going around, and I'm almost done. And I'm going to close up that circle right in there. And there you go. So there is the basis of my wreath, but I'm going to continue on. The stamp set has a single leaf as well, so that's what I'm going to take next. And I'm going to alternate how I place this. So I'm inking up still in garden green. I'm going to come in and I'm going to place one, so the base of my leaf right to the base in here, and I'll put it to the top or to the left. Whoops, not so good. Let's see if I can do a little bit better job. There we go. Then I'm going to ink up, and this time I'm going to go on the opposite side. I'm going to flip my leaf and I'm going to go to the bottom or closer to the right, ink up, flip, and I'm just coming around to kind of make it a fuller wreath again. And you can see there is no precision needed. It doesn't matter if you're following my alternating plan. You could do wherever you see there's a little void. It's kind of like flower arranging, right? You're going to see where you have some space that needs to be filled, and that's where you're going to go ahead and add some greenery. So there we go. And then I'm going to do another in here. There you go. All right, so there is my wreath. Looks pretty bare right now. Actually, it might be pretty. You could even add like grapes or something on there, make it fun. I'm gonna add another one in here, just a little pop of color. Let's see, I need to twist it. There we go. All right, so there's my wreath so far. What do you think? And this is garden green. To me, that's what the stems and the leaves are in a cornflower. So that's what I used. And I think now my next step is going to be to add that DSP panel at the left. That's why it doesn't matter if I made my little notes on how to remember the dimensions. So that's where it's going to go. And you can see how I covered up part of the wreath, which is why little die cuts to the rescue. They're going to be placed over here to kind of get that full wreath going all the way around. Now, how cool is that? I love this little set. I'm telling you, it's my favorite. And maybe it's my favorite because I actually got to play with it for a little while. This was one of the bundles that was on the pre-order for demos. And so, of course, you know, we have a new catalog coming in. I want to try things. So this is one of the ones I took the offer up on. And okay, so let me first put down my panel. I'm getting ahead of myself. And I'm just using my favorite adhesive. So forgiving, so economical. Still a great deal. I think it went up 25 cents in this catalog, but still a great deal. All right, so there we go. There is my little panel. I'm going to use my bone folder and burnish that down. Let's see. And sometimes I like to flip it over so that I don't get it dirty. There we go. All right, so there we go. There's that layer. And now it's just a matter of building, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see, I think I'm going to reserve this piece because, as I said, it's kind of like flower arranging. So I want to see where the holes are because this is not going to be the exact same card I did the first time. It's going to come up a little bit different, but I'm using this one as a reference. I'm going to take one of the little Blushing Bride flowers, and I did put the little dimensional right in the middle. That gives me a little bit of space to fill in around here should I need to, and I will actually when I get down to the sentiment. So I'm going to put my little flower right there. And my intent was to kind of alternate the color. So now I'm going to go with Orchid Oasis, and for this little card, I'm calling it Cornflower Blue. And I'm going to put it up in the corner here. Let's rotate the little flower just a little tiny bit. And I'm just using that little floral or that little leaf wreath as my guide on where to place the flowers. So then next I'm going to bring in a polished pink flower. And here's where I'm going to, let's see, first I need to put this down. I'm going to have to commit here. Let's see if I can put it in. I'm going to try for placement. As I said, everyone's going to come out different. And I know I'm going to need one there. And so if I put that there, I'm just trying to check it out. Yep, that's actually pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and commit. Put a little bit of adhesive right through there. And coming right through here. And I'm going to hold off on that little petal. Let's see if I don't need to place that yet. So this one is going to come down. I'm going to give it some space. I'm going to need a little bit of green in here. So there. And go ahead and secure this one down right in there. And let's see, my sending. Where is my sending? All right, so Anna Marie's back to her shenanigans again. Where did it go? It's right here. It's okay. I'll cancel that 911 call. It's right here. Okay, now I'm gonna put some dimensionals on the back. I am just the worst. Raise your hand if you lose stuff as much as I do. My whole crafting time goes this way. Thank you, Trisha. Thanks for helping me out because you have better eyes than I do. You can see where I set stuff. I set it aside so it wouldn't get inky, and then I panic when it's not. I was looking for it above. So anyway, that's just how things go, right? But I do spend a lot of my crafty time looking for things. Well, hello, Debbie. Tapping on the screen. Do you have a touch screen, Debbie? Too funny. Anyway, that's how I craft. That's just how I roll. Thank you, Trisha. Makes me feel better. So much wasted time when it's right there in front of me. And you know, all you need is a second pair of eyes to point it out to you. All right, so here I'm going to put my sending, and it's going to go right across here from side to side. And you see how I wanted that cornflower down as my guide, so I want to use that as a guide. I want it a little bit higher. This one's going to, as I say, it's going to look a little bit different than the other. Yeah. And I tried, I did go ahead and double stack that one. It'll be okay. It's all good. Okay, so now I can put down a polished pink flower right in here. And keep covering my reference card. Don't want to do that. And this one's going to come right in here. All right, so I need a cornflower. Looks like I've come to the end of my cornflowers. And so that means I'm going to have to die cut that. So let's just bring in the dies. And what I've done here, hopefully, whoa, the magnet didn't work well. Here's my die cut. So I kind of arranged mine. This actually gives you a chance to see how I do my bundles. If it has the coordinating dice that I like to use the magnetic sheet and put it right into the stamp set, that way I'm not searching all the time, right? Because you all know how much I search. There we go. And I'm gonna grab the mini, so give me a sec. And here we go. Open that up. I'm going to put down my silicone mat so it's not slipping all over. Bring in my plates. Bring in my cornflower. My die. And let's see. So, you know, this stamp set does not have a Mother's Day greeting, but it would make a pretty Mother's Day card too, right? Thank you, Trisha. I have tried over the years different ways of organizing my dies and things, and that's the organization tip du jour. So most likely next year I'm going to have a different tip, but that's what's working for me as of now. So yeah, this could easily be a pretty Mother's Day card too if you have a little Mother's Day card, or even you could use love and big hugs. That's very appropriate for Mother's Day, right? And a lot of people say, oh, I don't need Mother's Day cards, but so not true, because we all have lots of mothers in our lives, even if they are just friends, girlfriends who happen to be mothers, aunts, cousins, friends, lots of mothers in my life. So I did send out a lot of Mother's Day cards. There we go. So I have one little cornflower and my die, and I'm going to put it away before I lose it. There's a thought right there. Okay, so that's taken care of there. I need a little Stampin' Dimensional right on the back. I'm going to bring this back in here. Let's look at where my placement goes. I'm going to put it right around there. And then I need a little Blushing Bride. There we go. Oh, thanks. The mat under the machine. Yes, because the little mini will slip around as well. So there we go. So there's my wreath. It's coming along. I need my little birthday wishes, or if you had love and big hugs, you could also do that as well. So let's see. Let me bring back in my silicone mat. I need to stamp that sentiment. And the sentiment is in polished pink. And I've pre-mounted my greeting. This is on block H. And there is a block that's smaller. I don't know which block it is. So maybe, let's see, it might be like B even. But sometimes the acrylic block too small makes it difficult for placement. I like the way this one, I'm able to see around and above and below. I'm going to press it nice and firmly so I don't muff it up. There we go. Birthday wishes, not bad. And remove that. I'm going to bring back in my card front. And what I did was put dimensionals towards the center, because I know I'm going to want to slip this in somehow. And I don't want the dimensional getting in the way. So a couple of dimensionals towards the center. Right in here. And I want to slip it right back here under the flower, maybe even under the descender of the G, right in there. And I think I want, and so here I found this was helpful too. So take your pick. If you need to slip it under, you can lift. There we go. Much better. Right? It's coming along. I like this little card. It makes me happy. I hope it makes the person happy that I'm sending it to as well. So my finishing touch, one of the finishing touches I should say, is a little tiny twine bow. This is the 22-24 ink color twine pack, and you get a bolt of each of the new ink colors. I love my glue dots to secure my ribbon, my bows. So, and I'm using my ribbon of glue dots, and it's going to go right in there. And then the next question is, what did I just do with that bow I had? I just made a bow. All right, let's do this. Let's see. Maybe you can point out the bow to me. Where did I toss it? Oh, I found it. I found it. That's what my husband hears all day long. And lucky for me, he's really good at locating all the things I lose. He's in law enforcement, so he's pretty good about hunting things down and making sense of where I would put it. Thank you, Trish. I found the bow. I put it off screen. That's why you couldn't see it. Okay, so this, I'm gonna have the tiniest little border. I just want that orchid oasis peeking out from the white background. I'm gonna put that bow on there before I lose it again. There's my glue dot. Oh, it's cute. I like it. What do you think? Okay, so here's the beauty of this card, white card base, so that when I write my little message on the inside, I'm ready to go. No extra layer needed. Thank you, Trisha. I'm really happy with the coloring on it. Again, the Orchid Oasis, it just says cornflower blue to me, but it's not really blue. It's just has that hint. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and burnish this down. Now that it's all lumpy, it's a little bit harder to burnish down, but it'll work. So flip it. A little bit of pressure to burnish down. There we go. Hello, Jocelyn. Why, thank you. Such a compliment. So sweet. All right, so here are my embellishments. These are the classic matte dots. What I love about these, and it's a little odd, there are actually two sets of black dots in the new catalog. One is the black matte dots, and these are classic, and these actually, they have two things going for them. One, you get multicolors, so you get the white, the ivory, the gray, the black, and I love the shape of the dots. These are not just rounded dots like the other black dots are. These are kind of flat on one side. And look, I said not to stress over that eye. That's because I'm going to take this little dot. I'm going to dot my eye here. And there, easy, right? So we've got that. Then I'm going to take some of the little black dots because kind of like home decor, you can always use that little pop of black to bring things out. So I'm just going to put down a couple of little black dots here. We all know I like to go in odds. Huh? So 3, 5, I guess if you count the white, I'm not going in odds, but that'll work for me. We could do another. There we go. That way we stick to the rule, right? Let's see, right there. All right, so there is my Sending Smiles birthday wishes card. And I've used a different color scheme probably than a lot of people thought of because we're all tending right now to jump onto those beautiful in colors. Well, hello, Susan. Thank you. I appreciate that. The in colors are just gorgeous. They're nice, bright colors, but I was going for a softer effect. That's why I like this little color scheme. And this isn't the first card I've made with my new favorite. Let's see if I can find another. So talk about the in colors. Here we go. This is a cute little card using that Parakeet Pea green and still the Orchid Oasis. I think I used every in color on here. Maybe not. No, there's no Starry Sky. Is it Starry Sky or Starry? Yes, Starry Sky. Still have to learn the names. But this is one of those pre-done cards, really cool. And I used one that new polka dot die. And so yeah, there's another card there. And let's see, I did say this is my fun fold. For my tutorial, the diagonal easel card fun fold, Sending Sunshine to Brighten Your Day. There's the fun fold. Tahitian Tide. Tahitian Tide is it's almost like a turquoise, right, Trisha? So Tahitian Tide. Now, if you've been around Stampin' Up! For a while, Tempting Turquoise is what comes to mind when I see Tahitian Tide. I haven't pulled out my Tempting Turquoise, but it's probably very similar, but different. So that is that. This one is the Orchid Oasis. Beautiful blue. So when you send it and it's flat, this is what it looks like. We have that Sweet Sorbet, Orchid Oasis. I still used Garden Green for the flowers. This one I cut out from the paper from the tea, can't remember the tea paper's name. Cut that out. It's got a little stitched rectangle, that pop of black, just like I did on this card. And this one will sit on the desktop, on the mantle, for the recipient to just look at and smile, right? So you get to have some note space in here. There's a little, like a stop, like a door stop, elevated, that keeps it in position. So that was my contribution to the Fun Fold Fanatics monthly tutorial. You're gonna love this fold, and you're gonna see more of it this month. So there we go. That is my card for today. And I'm going to ask, if you're new to me, skip over to AnnaMariePalmerin.com. You're going to be able to see more inspiration. That's the blog. While you're there, you can sign up for the email list where you'll get newsletters and notification of the specials. You're also going to get a PDF tutorial straight away. And if you're catching me over on YouTube, be sure to make a comment, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe over on the YouTube channel too, so you know when the videos are posted. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I will return next Friday for happy hour, usual time, 4 o'clock next week. If you have any questions or comments, leave them right below. If you have any questions about taking advantage of the starter kit, that irresistible offer, you can email me, you can PM me. I would love to answer questions. Or if you need help placing an order, please go ahead and reach out to me. I'm here to help. I don't mind in the least. Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for joining me. I hope I inspired you to create this weekend. I will see my Stamperistas tomorrow for team meeting. See you then. Thanks for joining.